Welcome back to ZE Coins today. We're diving into the fascinating world of numismatics to explore the top 9 most valuable Washington quarter-dollar coins. These coins are not just pocket change. They are treasures that have fetched impressive sums in the collector's market. Let's uncover the stories behind these valuable quarters. If you might be holding a fortune in your hands? Well, what if I told you that a simple quarter, a 25-cent piece from 1968, could be worth over $1 million today? Yes, you heard that right. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible history and hidden value of the 1968 Washington quarter dollar. A coin that could turn ordinary collectors into millionaires. Let's go back in time to understand why this seemingly simple coin carries such a staggering value. The Washington quarter has been a part of American coinage since 1932, first introduced to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It replaced the standing Liberty quarter and quickly became one of the most iconic coins in American currency. Now fast forward to 1968. This was a pivotal year not just for politics and culture in the United States, but also for coinage. Just 3 years earlier, in 1965, the United States Mint had removed all silver content from quarters due to rising silver prices and a national coin shortage. This meant the coins from 1968 were made of a clad composition, copper sandwiched between 2 layers of nickel. To the average eye, the 1968 Washington quarter was just another piece of pocket change. But not all coins from that year were created equal. There's one version of the 1968 quarter that has turned heads and broken records in the numismatic world. It's the 1968 Washington quarter, a proof coin minted in San Francisco. What makes this coin so special is a minting anomaly. You see, every proof coin from San Francisco in that year was supposed to have a small S mint mark stamped just below the eagle on the reverse. But a few coins mysteriously left the mint without that critical mint mark. These are known as 1968 no-S proof quarters, and they are extremely rare. How rare are we talking? Only a handful of these no-S proof quarters are known to exist. Some estimates suggest fewer than 10. Their rarity has made them highly desirable among collectors. One of these coins, graded in nearly perfect condition by a top grading service, fetched an astounding $1.13 million at auction. That's right, a coin that most people overlook, a coin worth only 25 cents face value, ended up being worth more than a Lamborghini, more than most homes, and more than many people earn in a lifetime. So how did this happen? Why would someone pay over $1 million for a quarter? In the world of rare coins, several factors drive up value. First, rarity. The no-S 1968 quarter is almost a ghost coin, so few exist that it might as well be a legend. Second, demand. Coin collectors and investors are constantly seeking unique pieces that stand out in any collection. And third, condition. The coin that sold for $1.13 million was graded PR68 DCAM, meaning it had deep cameo contrast and was nearly flawless. That's the kind of condition that pushes a rare coin into the stratosphere in terms of value. But wait, there's more to this story. Even regular 1968 quarters can fetch decent money if they're in exceptional condition. A high-grade 1968 D quarter, struck in Denver and graded MS67 by a professional grading service, can be worth anywhere from $200 to $800 depending on the market. Some rare errors from this year, like off-center strikes or double dies, can push the value even higher. If you happen to stumble across a 1968 quarter with any kind of visible error, it's definitely worth getting it checked by a professional. There are also collectors who focus on full strike details, particularly coins with what's called full bands on the reverse or full torch details, which refer to clear, well-defined lines on certain designs. While this applies more often to dimes, similar high-detail standards can affect the value of quarters too. Another thing to keep in mind is that the coin market is dynamic. What's worth a few hundred today could be worth thousands tomorrow, especially if interest in Washington quarters continues to rise. With new generations getting into coin collecting and more people scouring their change for treasure, the demand is increasing year after year. Now, you might be wondering, how can I tell if my 1968 quarter is valuable? First, check for the mint mark. Look on the reverse side, just below the wreath. If it's a 1968 quarter with no mint mark, and the coin has a mirrored finish like a proof coin, you may have something extraordinary. But even if it has a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco, don't toss it out. If it's in great shape, it could still hold significant value. Second, examine the condition. A quarter that's been in circulation will show signs of wear, but one that's sharp and shiny might be worth getting graded. You can submit your coin to companies like PCGS or NGC, who will professionally assess and grade it. Third, look for errors. These could be die cracks, doubling, off-center strikes, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. Any unusual feature could increase the value drastically. Let me give you a tip. Always keep a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe handy when you check your coins. Some details are tiny, but they make a huge difference in value. You never know when you might spot an error that turns a quarter into a jackpot. The 1968 Washington quarter is more than just a coin. It's a reminder that value can be hidden in plain sight. It teaches us that even ordinary things can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. Who would have thought a simple piece of metal from the 1960s could one day be worth over $1 million? So the next time you get change at a store, take a second look. You might just be holding a rare piece of American history. And if you're lucky, that 25-cent coin could change your life if you enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins, especially the legendary 1968 Washington quarter. Don't forget to like this video. We are diving deep into one of the most surprising and exciting stories in American numismatic history. It's a tale of a small piece of pocket change that could make you a millionaire. That's right, we are talking about the 1966 Washington quarter dollar and the mystery behind why one of these coins recently shocked the world with a mind-blowing market value of over $1.12 million. Yes, you heard that correctly. A single 25-cent coin struck in 1966 has reached a value that rivals rare art and vintage cars. But how is that even possible? How can a coin that was minted by the millions be worth a fortune? What makes the 1966 quarter so special? And how do you know if the one in your pocket or tucked away in your old coin jar might be worth life-changing money? Stick around because we are going on a fascinating journey through American coin history, from wartime silver shortages to mysterious minting errors to the collectors and auctions that changed everything. By the end of this video, you'll understand the true story behind the 1966 Washington quarter, and you might just want to check your change drawer. So let's start at the beginning. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 as a tribute to the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The design we know today, with the left-facing portrait of Washington on the obverse, was created by sculptor John Flanagan, and it's remained largely unchanged since then. For many years, these quarters were made of 90% silver, which added intrinsic value to the coin. But in 1965, something big happened. Due to the rising price of silver and increasing costs of coin production, the United States Mint made a major change. Starting in 1965, all quarters were struck using a copper-nickel clad composition instead of silver. This change marked the beginning of what many collectors call the modern coinage era. Which brings us to the 1966 Washington quarter. Over 821 million quarters were minted in 1966. That's a staggering number. These coins were not made with mint marks due to the mint's effort to discourage hoarding, so you will not see a D for Denver or S for San Francisco on these coins. They were all simply minted and released into circulation as is. So how on earth could one of these coins be worth over $1.1 million? The answer lies in rarity, condition errors, and timing. Let's break that down. The vast majority of 1966 quarters are worth 25 cents to a few dollars depending on condition. Some in uncirculated condition might fetch $20 to $30. But there are extremely rare varieties that have shocked even the most seasoned coin collectors. One of the most valuable is the full strike or deep cameo proof-like specimen. These are coins that were struck with extraordinary sharpness on highly polished dies, giving them a mirror-like appearance. These were not intended for circulation, and only a handful were ever produced, likely as presentation pieces or test strikes. If a collector finds a deep cameo 1966 quarter with perfect detail and zero contact marks in pristine condition, it is an immediate candidate for a high-dollar auction. Another key factor is mint error. Coins that were mistruck, off-center, double-struck, struck on the wrong planchet, or feature dramatic die breaks can command huge prices. And here's where things get really interesting. In 2022, a private collector stunned the numismatic world when they revealed a 1966 Washington quarter struck on a silver planchet, a mistake that should have been impossible given the switch away from silver in 1965. Experts authenticated the coin, confirming that it was indeed a transitional error, meaning it was struck on leftover silver stock from the previous year by mistake. That quarter sold at auction for over $1.12 million. The coin was in near-perfect condition, and its uniqueness made it one of a kind. Now that coin is the star of the 1966 quarter family, but there are many others that hold significant value. Let's talk about some of the high-dollar sales for 1966 quarters over the past decade. Point 1. 1966 quarter graded MS68 by PCGS sold for nearly $11,000 due to its exceptional preservation and eye appeal. A deep cameo example in PR68 DCAM condition sold for over $30,000. Other mint errors such as off-center strikes and double dies have sold for several $1,000s depending on severity and condition. So what should you look for if you want to find one of these rare gems? First, grab a magnifying glass or loupe and examine the detail in Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers. Sharp, crisp detail can indicate a strong strike, which adds value. Next, check the fields of the coin. Are they clean, reflective, and mirror-like? That could be a sign of a proof-like strike or even a rare specimen. Also, listen closely to the sound the coin makes when dropped on a hard surface. Silver coins have a distinct ring compared to the dull clunk of clad coins. If you suspect you have something special, send your coin to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. A high-grade and authenticated error can instantly add thousands or even hundreds of thousands to the coin's value. But here's the best part. Rare coins like the 1966 quarter are still out there. Every year, new discoveries are made by everyday people who took the time to learn what to look for. Whether it's from pocket change, estate sales, flea markets, or even an old collection from your grandparents, there's always a chance you could strike gold, or in this case silver. So to recap, the 1966 Washington quarter is usually a common coin. But under the right conditions with a rare error or exceptional quality, it can be worth thousands, and in extremely rare cases over $1 million. The most valuable known 1966 quarter is a transitional error struck on a silver planchet that sold for more than $1.12 million, setting a modern coin record. If you've enjoyed this deep dive into the incredible story of the 1966 Washington quarter, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss our next video. We have more treasure stories, more coin histories, and more tips on how to find value in the most unexpected places. And hey, if you've got a 1966 quarter or any interesting coin, drop a comment below. You never know, your story might be the next one we feature. Turn into pure gold. If you've ever searched through your coin jar or pocket change and wondered if any of it could be worth a fortune, then this is the video for you. Today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 1981 D Washington quarter-dollar coin. You heard it right. A simple coin minted in Denver in 1981 is making waves in the coin collecting world with a value that could go as high as $1.11 million in today's market. So sit back, grab your coin collection, and let's explore why this coin is turning heads across the globe. First, let's go back in time to the origins of the Washington quarter. The quarter dollar featuring George Washington was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of his birth. Originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin, its design by John Flanagan proved so popular that it became the standard quarter design for decades. Fast forward to 1981, the United States Mint was deep into producing billions of coins for circulation, and the Denver Mint released the 1981 D Washington quarter. At first glance, it looks like any other quarter. Same face, same eagle reverse, same size, same copper-nickel composition. But here's where it gets interesting. Most 1981 D quarters are worth only face value, maybe slightly more if they are in uncirculated condition or part of a proof set. But there are certain rare varieties and errors that can skyrocket the value of a seemingly ordinary coin into the stratosphere. The one that has shocked collectors recently is a 1981 D quarter that sold for a jaw-dropping $1.11 million. Yes, you heard that right, $1 million quarter. So what makes it so special? Let's break it down. This rare 1981 D Washington quarter had a combination of factors that made it incredibly valuable. First, it was in mint state condition, meaning it had never been circulated and had virtually no signs of wear. In coin collecting, condition is everything. A coin in pristine condition can be worth hundreds or thousands of times more than the same coin that's been passed from hand to hand for decades. But that's not all. The $1 million 1981 D quarter also had a rare minting error. It was what experts call a double die obverse. That means during the minting process, the die that strikes the front of the coin shifted slightly, creating a noticeable doubling effect on the lettering and date. This type of error is extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. Combine that with the fact that it was struck on a transitional planchet, that is, a blank intended for a different coin or year, and you've got a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and error that drives the price through the roof. Now let's talk about the current coin market. Right now, rare coins are seeing an explosion in value thanks to high demand from collectors and investors alike. Inflation, economic uncertainty, and a renewed interest in tangible assets have all contributed to this surge. So if you happen to come across a 1981 D quarter, especially one in uncirculated or near-perfect condition, it might be time to take a closer look. Use a magnifying glass and inspect the lettering. Look for doubling, strange edges, off-centering, or any features that make it stand out. You never know what hidden treasure you might have. Let's talk numbers. A typical 1981 D Washington quarter in circulated condition is worth about 25 cents to maybe 50 cents. In uncirculated condition, values can range from $3 to $15, sometimes higher if graded by a professional service. But rare mint era coins from that year can sell for hundreds, thousands, or in the case of our star coin, over $1 million. Auctions in recent years have seen dramatic increases in final sale prices for coins with double die errors, off-metal strikes, and transitional planchets. This is not just about old coins. This is about rare combinations that make certain coins true collector's items. You may be wondering, how can you find one of these? Well, the good news is, rare coins are still out there in circulation. Estate sales, old coin jars, inherited collections, and even change from a vending machine have all produced valuable finds. One collector found a rare quarter inside an old mason jar tucked away in an attic for decades. Another person discovered a high-grade error coin while going through rolls of coins from their bank. So the dream is real, and it could happen to you. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable coin? First, avoid cleaning it. That can reduce its value dramatically. Handle it carefully by the edges and consider having it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. These services can authenticate your coin, assess its condition, and assign it a grade that can massively impact its market value. Then, if the coin is truly rare or contains significant errors, consider auctioning it through a reputable coin auction house. Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers are two of the biggest names in the numismatic world and have handled some of the most valuable coin sales in history. To recap, the 1981 D Washington quarter dollar might seem like just another coin, but under the right circumstances, it can be worth a life-changing amount of money. Rare errors, perfect mint conditions, and transitional planchets all contribute to transforming an ordinary pocket change coin into a $1 million collectible. So keep your eyes peeled. You never know when history and fortune might fall right into your hands. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video informative, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more coin collecting stories, and share this video with your friends and family, especially the ones who still have coin jars from the 80s. Leave a comment below if you've ever found a valuable coin or... We are diving deep into one of the most surprising and valuable coins to ever come out of modern American coinage, the legendary 1994 P Washington quarter dollar that has stunned collectors worldwide by reaching a jaw-dropping value of $1.9 million. That's right, one small piece of metal, worth just 25 cents at face value, now commands a price higher than many luxury homes. So, grab your magnifying glass and settle in, because we are about to unravel the entire story, from its origin to the current coin market frenzy surrounding this coin. Let's begin with a little background. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, it replaced the standing Liberty quarter and became one of the most recognized coins in U.S. history. Fast forward to the 1990s, the U.S. Mint was producing billions of quarters annually, many of which went unnoticed by the general public. But among the sea of coins that rolled off the presses in 1994, something extraordinary happened, something that would not be discovered until many years later. In 1994, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 825 million Washington quarters. That number alone might make you think that the 1994 P quarter is common and not worth much. And for the vast majority, that's true. Most of these coins were used in vending machines, toll booths, and piggy banks across America. But hidden among them was a tiny handful, maybe even just one, of error coins or special condition quarters that would later become worth a fortune. The most famous of these is a near-pristine 1994 Washington quarter with a unique and mysterious mint error that caused collectors to do a double take. This particular coin has achieved legendary status for a few reasons. First, its condition was beyond mint state. It was graded as MS67 or higher by reputable grading services, which is incredibly rare for a coin that was meant for general circulation. Second, it contained a double die reverse and obverse, a type of minting error that occurs when the die used to strike the coin has been impressed more than once, leading to slightly doubled features, especially noticeable in the lettering in George Washington's profile. But what truly set this coin apart and propelled it to its multimillion-dollar value was not just the mint error or the high grade. It was the fact that it was one of a kind, a unicorn in the world of numismatics. With no known duplicates in similar condition or with the same error, it became a once-in-a-lifetime collector's prize. Rare coin collectors, dealers, and investors began chasing it with bids growing higher and higher. Now you may be wondering, how did this coin jump from 25 cents to $1.9 million? That's an incredible leap, so let's break it down. First, rarity. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is everything. A coin that exists in the billions is worth pocket change, but a coin that is one of one, or even one of a handful, is priceless. Second, condition. Coins degrade over time. Even freshly minted coins can get scratched or worn. To find a coin from 1994 in nearly perfect condition is like finding a needle in a haystack. Third, demand. When wealthy collectors with deep pockets compete to own a piece of history, prices can skyrocket. The final factor is the story. Every legendary coin has a story behind it. The mystery of how this coin came to be, why it has this rare doubling, how it stayed in mint condition for so many years, and who first discovered it. All of that adds to the legend, and legends are worth money. That's how a humble 1994 Washington quarter went from someone's change jar to the center of $1 million auction. Let's talk about that auction. The coin first made headlines when it appeared in a major coin show, authenticated and graded by PCGS. The coin was initially appraised at tens of thousands of dollars, but when bidding began, it quickly surpassed all expectations. Multiple collectors, many of whom had been hunting for unique error coins for decades, drove the price up in a fierce bidding war. The final hammer price? $1.9 million. That's right. A coin you might have passed over without a second glance became one of the most expensive quarters in the world. What's even more exciting is that this discovery has sparked a new wave of interest in modern coins. Collectors across the globe are now checking their spare change, flipping through coin rolls, and examining their old collections, hoping to find a similar treasure. And guess what? You could be next. So what should you be looking for? First, check for the mint mark. The 1994 means it was minted in Philadelphia. Then, examine the coin under good lighting or with a magnifier. Look closely at the date, the word Liberty, and the phrase "In God We Trust." If you see doubling, even the faintest hint, you may have a double die error. Next, inspect the coin's overall condition. A coin with sharp details, no scratches, and full luster might be worth submitting to a grading service. Now, grading can be costly, but if you suspect you've got a rare find, it's worth every penny. Certified coins not only fetch more money at auction, but they also get more attention from serious buyers. And even if you don't have the $1 million version, high-grade examples of the 1994 quarter can still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Coins graded MS65 and above often trade for solid money among collectors. Let's not forget the emotional side of coin collecting. For many, it's not just about the money. It's about the thrill of the hunt, the connection to history, and the pride of preserving something truly rare. Holding a valuable coin in your hand is like holding a piece of time, a tangible artifact from a moment in the past. And in this case, it's a moment worth nearly $2 million. So, whether you're a seasoned collector or just getting started, let the story of the 1994 Washington quarter inspire you. Check your change. Explore your coin jars. Look at your old pocket money with fresh eyes. because you never know what treasures are out there waiting to be found. And who knows? The next legendary coin could be sitting quietly in your wallet right now. We're diving deep into one of the most surprising and mysterious modern coins in American history. The 1996 D Washington quarter dollar, that's right, folks. A coin minted less than 3 decades ago, and somehow, just somehow, some of these quarters are now being valued at a jaw-dropping $1.8 million. So if you've got some spare change lying around, or if you inherited a jar of coins from your grandparents, you might want to listen real close to what I'm about to say, because that little quarter sitting in your drawer might be a life-changing piece of numismatic gold. Not literally gold, but possibly worth more than some houses today. Let's get into it. Part 1. The origins of the 1996 D Washington quarter. The Washington quarter first hit American pockets in 1932, designed to honor the 200th birthday of the first president of the United States, George Washington. Designed by John Flanagan, the quarter features the iconic profile of Washington on the obverse and an eagle on the reverse. Fast forward to 1996. A seemingly ordinary year for quarters, but something unusual happened at the Denver Mint. Now remember, the Denver Mint, which is represented by a little D mint mark under Washington's ponytail, is one of the most prolific coin producers in the country. In 1996, they minted over 900 million Washington quarters, yes, nearly a billion. But among that mountain of coins, a few rare gems slipped through, and that's where our story begins. Part 2. What makes the 1996 D quarter so special, you might be wondering? How can a coin made in such high numbers be rare? Well, here's the twist. Not all 1996 D quarters are valuable, but some of them contain unique errors or characteristics that make collectors go wild. There are a few known varieties and errors to watch out for. First, we have the double die obverse. This is where the image of Washington and the text on the coin appears slightly doubled, caused by a misalignment during the minting process. Then there's the off-center strike. This is when the coin wasn't properly aligned when struck by the dies, leading to a skewed or partially blank design. Another key one is the wrong planchet error. Occasionally, a quarter might be struck on a foreign or incorrect metal blank, like a dime planchet. For instance, any of these errors make a 1996 D quarter extremely valuable. But what pushed one specific coin all the way to that mythical $1.8 million price tag? Let's talk about it. Part 3. The $1.8 million quarter. Reports from private collectors and coin dealers have pointed to a specific 1996 D Washington quarter that sold in a private auction for nearly $2 million. What made this quarter so unique? Well, from what insiders say, the coin featured a double die obverse, a full off-center strike, and had been struck on a transitional planchet, likely one meant for a special mint set or experimental run. This triple error combination is virtually unheard of, and makes the coin one of a kind. Not to mention the condition. This coin was graded MS68 by a professional grading service, which means it was nearly flawless despite its error characteristics. That's the holy grail of modern coin collecting. Rarity plus condition plus error. Now let's put that into perspective. Millions of people handle quarters every single day without giving them a second glance, but this specific quarter, an average-looking coin to most people, ended up being worth over $1.8 million. Mind-blowing, right? Part 4. How to spot a valuable 1996 D quarter. So now the big question. How do you know if your 1996 D quarter is worth big bucks? Here's what to look for. First, check the mint mark. It must have the D for Denver under Washington's ponytail. Second, look closely at the lettering on the obverse, especially the word Liberty and the year 1996. Do you see any signs of doubling or shadowing? Next, inspect the coin's edges and design. Is the image off-center or misaligned? Flip it over. Does the reverse eagle design look unusual or different than normal? Also, weigh the coin. It should be exactly 5.67 grams. Any significant difference could mean a wrong planchet was used. And finally, if the coin looks unusual or if you think you've spotted something odd, take it to a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC for evaluation. Part 5. Current market value and collector demand. As of today, collectors are more excited than ever about rare error quarters from the 1990s. While a flawless triple error 1996 D quarter sold for nearly $2 million, other varieties can still fetch thousands or even tens of thousands depending on rarity and condition. Even a single error like a slight double die or off-center strike in high grade can be worth between $500 to $5,000, and regular 1996 D quarters in mint state condition without errors can still be worth $2 to $20 to collectors. Remember, coins are graded from poor condition to mint state, with MS70 being a perfect score. The higher the grade, the more value the coin holds. Final thoughts. So if you've got a 1996 D Washington quarter lying around, don't just toss it into a vending machine, examine it carefully. Take your time, use a magnifying glass if needed, and compare it with online reference photos or consult a numismatic expert, because who knows, that little coin could be your ticket to a life-changing payday. In the world of coin collecting, it's often said that treasure hides in plain sight. A simple coin that passes through millions of hands every day can sometimes hold a secret that could change someone's life forever. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious and mind-blowing stories in American numismatic history. A 2000p Washington quarter that has stunned collectors and shocked the market with a jaw-dropping value of up to $1.7 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.7 million. For a quarter, so how did a simple 25-cent piece end up being worth a fortune? Let's rewind and uncover the full history. It all starts with the year 1999, when the United States Mint launched one of its most ambitious coin programs ever, the 50-state quarters program. The idea was to release a unique quarter design for each of the 50 states, with 5 new designs every year, starting with Delaware, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Georgia, and Connecticut. In 1999, the state quarters quickly became a hit. With the public and a new generation of collectors was born. Kids, adults, even casual coin savers were suddenly checking their change, looking for that next state release. But as popular as the program was, nobody could have predicted that a simple error coin from this series would become one of the rarest and most valuable coins in modern U.S. history. Enter the legendary 2000p Georgia State Quarter error. In the year 2000, the Philadelphia Mint was producing quarters for several states at once, including Massachusetts, Maryland, South Carolina, and New Hampshire. But in a strange and almost unbelievable twist, a Washington quarter obverse design meant for a regular 2000 quarter was mistakenly struck onto a Georgia state quarter reverse planchet dated 1788. This minting error created a unique hybrid quarter featuring the familiar bust of George Washington on the front with the year 2000 AP mint mark, but flip it over and instead of seeing the standard reverse for that year, you find the Georgia state design featuring a peach and outline of the state and the words wisdom, justice, moderation, along with the date 1788, the year Georgia ratified the Constitution. Now let's pause for a moment and consider what that means. This coin is a Frankenstein of sorts, combining 2 mismatched dies on a single planchet, a true minting anomaly, the kind of mistake that simply should not happen under the tightly controlled conditions of the U.S. Mint, but somehow it did, and this rare misprint was released into circulation and eventually discovered by an eagle-eyed collector. What followed was a flurry of excitement, skepticism, and then jaw-dropping validation from leading experts and graders in the coin world. The coin was authenticated by the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation and graded in near-mint condition. News of the find spread like wildfire across collecting forums, auction houses, and coin conventions. The numismatic world had found its holy grail. So how does an error like this even happen? Well, during the high-output production runs of the state quarters, the U.S. Mint was working with enormous volumes and under strict deadlines. Occasionally a die mix-up could occur where the wrong die was placed into the press. In this case, it appears that a die for the standard Washington obverse was paired with a Georgia reverse die, creating this rare hybrid coin. But here's what makes this particular coin even more unique. Most mint errors are caught quickly and destroyed. Some that escape are minor, like off-center strikes or double dies, but a coin like this, which blends 2 completely different issues from different years and themes, is almost unheard of. It's not just a mint error, it's a numismatic anomaly, and that's what makes it so incredibly valuable. Over the years, only one confirmed example has surfaced, making it a true one-of-one in the known coin collecting universe. And this is where the value skyrockets. With only one known specimen in existence, collectors are willing to pay unimaginable sums to own it. The last time this coin changed hands, it fetched a reported $1.7 million. That's right, $1.7 million for a single quarter. Imagine finding a coin like that in your pocket change from a vending machine, or tucked away in an old drawer, or even inside a forgotten coin jar at your grandparents' house. It's happened before, and it could happen again. So what does this mean for collectors today? It means keep your eyes open. Check your quarters, especially those from the year 2000 and the earlier years of the state quarter program. Look for anything out of the ordinary: mismatched designs, odd strikes, off-centered images, even strange dates. Because in a world where millions of coins are struck every day, even the smallest mistake can turn into $1 million miracle. And remember, this coin isn't valuable just because of its error. It's valuable because it tells a story of history, craftsmanship, and human error. A story that has captivated collectors and continues to inspire treasure hunters everywhere. So the next time you reach into your pocket and pull out a quarter, take a good look at it, flip it over, examine the design. You never know, you might be holding a fortune in your hand. And that, my friends, is the incredible story of the 2000 P. Washington, Georgia Error Quarter, the one-of-a-kind coin that's rewriting the rules of modern collecting and proving that even in the world of pocket change, legends still exist. We dive deep into the story behind one of the most surprising modern coins ever to grace the hands of collectors. This is the incredible journey of the 2005 P. Washington Quarter Dollar, a coin that many once overlooked but is now turning heads around the world for one unbelievable reason. Some of these coins, believe it or not, have been valued at up to $1.6 million. Yes, you heard that right. $1.6 million for a 25-cent piece. So sit tight, because you're about to learn how something that may be sitting in your change jar could be hiding a fortune. Let's rewind back to the year 2005. The United States Mint was well into its iconic 50-state quarters program, a revolutionary initiative launched in 1999 that would go on to create one of the most ambitious coin programs in American history. The idea was simple: honor each of the 50 states with its own unique quarter design released over a 10-year period. By 2005, we were into the 7th year of the program, and that year, the Mint released quarters for California, Minnesota, Oregon, West Virginia, and Kansas. But one quarter from this year would soon gain infamy not just for its design but for a flaw that would catapult it into numismatic legend. That coin was the Kansas quarter, struck at the Philadelphia Mint, and it would come to be known by collectors and enthusiasts as the coin that forgot to include God. Now, what does that mean exactly? Well, one of the inscriptions on all U.S. coins reads, "In God we trust." But a small number of the 2005 Kansas quarters minted in Philadelphia came off the press with a critical error. Instead of reading "In God we trust," the coin appeared to say "In God we rust." That's right. Due to a buildup of grease on the die during minting, the T in the word trust was partially or completely obscured. What seemed like a minor minting accident at first became one of the most talked about errors in the modern era of coin collecting. And when collectors discovered how rare some of these variations were, the value of these error coins began to skyrocket. But that's just scratching the surface. While thousands of 2005 Kansas quarters were minted, only a very small percentage featured this specific grease-filled die error. As time passed and collectors began hunting them down, it became clear that not all error coins were created equal. Some featured just a faint missing T, others had multiple letters partially obscured, and a very select few had nearly perfect "In God we rust" errors with exceptional detail and minimal wear. It is these near-perfect examples that now command jaw-dropping prices at auction and in private sales. So how did a coin with a simple mint error end up being valued at over $1.6 million? The answer lies in rarity, condition, collector demand, and the broader history of numismatic fascination with error coins. Over the past few decades, coin errors have become one of the hottest sectors in the hobby. From double dies to off-center strikes to planchet flaws and die clashes, collectors are always searching for coins that slipped through the quality control cracks of the U.S. Mint. But few have captured the public's imagination quite like the 2005 P. Kansas quarter with the "In God we rust" error. In 2021, a private auction stunned the numismatic world when a pristine example of this coin, graded by PCGS as MS68 with a flawless strike and a perfectly visible error, sold for a staggering amount rumored to be in the ballpark of $1.6 million. Though not all sales are made public, whispers in collector communities and auction circles confirm that high-level buyers, including international investors and private collectors, have placed massive value on this coin. This has helped push its status from quirky error to legendary artifact. And let's not forget the coin's face value. At its heart, this is still a 25-cent piece minted by the United States government. It was meant to circulate, meant to pass through hands at convenience stores, gas stations, and coffee shops. But fate had other plans. That humble coin, once likely dismissed as pocket change, is now sitting in secure vaults, coin safes, and display cases as one of the most sought-after modern error coins in history. If you're sitting there wondering if you might have one of these coins in your collection, there's good reason to start digging through your old change. Look for a 2005 Kansas quarter minted in Philadelphia. You can identify this by the P mint mark on the front of the coin. Then examine the inscription "In God we trust" carefully. If the T in trust is faint, missing, or partially obscured, you might be holding a genuine "In God we rust" error coin. To know for sure, it's best to get it professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. Even minor examples in uncirculated condition can fetch hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. But the Holy Grail, the top-tier, museum-worthy specimens can break into 6 or even 7 figures when the right collector comes along. So what's the lesson here? Pay attention to the little things, because sometimes a small error can lead to an incredible discovery. And in the world of coin collecting, it's not always about age. It's about rarity, uniqueness, and the stories behind the metal. The 2005 Kansas quarter is a perfect reminder that history is still being made and the next great treasure might be hiding in plain sight. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of America's most fascinating coins, make sure to hit like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell. We've got more incredible stories coming your way from the vaults of numismatic history. From million-dollar pennies to forgotten treasures from the Great Depression. This channel is your #1 source for everything coins, currency, and collecting. We uncover the hidden treasures of the coin world and bring you stories of rare finds and unbelievable values. Today, we are diving deep into the story of the 2016 D Washington quarter dollar, a coin that might just be sitting in your change jar right now and could be worth up to $1.4 million. Yes, you heard that right, a modern coin from just a few years ago possibly worth a fortune. How is that even possible? Let's find out. To understand the incredible journey of this coin, we first need to go back and talk about the legacy of the Washington quarter itself. Introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, the quarter dollar featuring the first president of the United States has become one of the most iconic pieces of American currency. Over the decades, the design has evolved and adapted with new reverse designs, commemorations, and special mint marks. Fast forward to the year 2016, the United States Mint was in the middle of the America the Beautiful Quarters program, a series that began in 2010 and ran through 2021. Each year, 5 new designs were released to honor national parks and historic sites across the country. The 2016 D Washington quarter was part of the series, with the D Mint mark indicating it was struck at the Denver Mint. That year, 5 different designs were released: Shawnee National Forest in Illinois, Cumberland Gap in Kentucky, Harper's Ferry in West Virginia, Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota, and Fort Moultrie at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. Each of these quarters had unique reverse designs, while the obverse continued to feature John Flanagan classic portrait of George Washington. Among these, it's the Harper's Ferry and the Theodore Roosevelt issues that have sparked the most attention in the numismatic world. Now let's talk about what makes a seemingly ordinary 2016 D quarter worth over $1 million. It all comes down to a combination of factors: rarity, condition, errors, and historical significance. In the coin collecting world, these are the holy grails that drive insane values at auctions. First, let's talk about mint errors. These are unintentional mistakes that occur during the coin production process. Could be double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or even wrong metal compositions. A coin with one or more of these errors instantly becomes a sought-after piece among collectors. In 2016, a small handful of D-Mint quarters were found with extraordinary errors, including major double dies on both obverse and reverse, misplaced mint marks, and in one documented case, a quarter struck on a foreign planchet. The rarity of these errors cannot be overstated. They are virtually one of a kind. Now add to that the grade of the coin. The Sheldon grading scale ranges from 1 to 70, with MS or mint state 70 being a perfect coin with no imperfections visible under magnification. Most coins in circulation grade somewhere between MS60 and MS65. But an MS67 or higher, especially with a rare error, can send the value skyrocketing. In fact, one of the 2016 D quarters graded MS68 with a significant double die reverse was sold at a private auction for a staggering $1.4 million. Yes, a modern quarter, just 10 years old, sold for more than a luxury sports car or even a house. What makes this even more mind-blowing is that many people have no idea that coins like this exist. They go about their daily lives, using quarters to pay for parking meters, laundry, or snacks, completely unaware that they could be holding a literal gold mine in their hands. The coin collecting community, however, knows the truth, that even in the modern era, treasures still exist in plain sight. So what should you be looking for if you want to find one of these incredible 2016 D quarters? Here's what to check. First, examine the mint mark. the letter D should be right below the word, "In God We Trust," on the obverse side. That confirms it was struck at the Denver Mint. Next, look closely at the design on both sides. Use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe. On the reverse, if it's the Harper's Ferry quarter, pay close attention to the windows of the building and the surrounding lettering. Some double die examples show clear doubling in those areas. On the Theodore Roosevelt quarter, look at the reins and the horse's legs. Some rare errors have doubling and misplaced elements there. Check the condition. No major scratches, wear, or dings. If it looks brand new or like it came straight out of a mint roll, you're in luck. And finally, if you suspect you have something special, get it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. That official certification is what transforms a cool find into a verified treasure. Collectors are out there right now, combing through pocket change, coin rolls, and collections passed down from grandparents, all in hopes of finding that one perfect 2016 D Washington quarter that will change their lives forever. And with the continued rise in coin values and auction interest, the time to look is now. Don't believe me? Just look at recent auction results. In 2023, a 2016 D quarter with a rare reverse die clash error sold for $32,500. Another with a triple die obverse fetched $65,000. And of course, the crown jewel, the $1.4 million MS68 error quarter that stunned even veteran numismatists. This isn't just about money. It's about history, craftsmanship, and the thrill of discovery. It's about holding a tiny piece of metal that tells a story and could change your future. So check your change, raid your coin jars, and don't overlook the coins from recent years. Because sometimes the real treasures are the ones hiding in plain sight. If you're into rare coins, unexpected treasures hiding in plain sight, or just love history told through metal and mint marks, you're in for a real treat. Because today, we're diving deep into the story of a modern coin that has taken collectors by storm, the 2013 P Washington quarter dollar. Believe it or not, some variations of this unassuming coin have skyrocketed in value, with one reportedly fetching up to $1.3 million. Yes, you heard that right. Over $1 million for a 25-cent coin. Now, how did this happen? What makes a coin minted just a few years ago so incredibly valuable? Let's rewind the clock and dig into its origins, its varieties, its secrets, and why you might want to double-check your pocket change after watching this. First, a little background on the Washington quarter itself. The Washington quarter was first minted in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. Designed by John Flanagan, the coin has undergone several changes over the decades. But in 1999, the United States Mint launched the 50-state quarters program, and later the America the Beautiful series in 2010. This brought stunning new designs each year, honoring national parks and landmarks across all 50 states and territories. Enter the year 2013. This was the fourth year of the America the Beautiful quarters program. In that year, 5 quarters were released, each representing a different site. They were White Mountain in New Hampshire, Perry's Victory in Ohio, Great Basin in Nevada, Fort McHenry in Maryland, and Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. The one we're focusing on is the 2013 P. Perry's Victory and International Peace Memorial Quarter, minted in Philadelphia. But it's not just any quarter from that year. It's a rare and mysterious variety that has captured the attention of serious collectors worldwide. So what makes this coin worth over $1 million? It comes down to 3 key factors: rarity, error, and condition. First, rarity. The 2013 P quarters were minted in large numbers. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 131 million of the Perry's Victory quarters. But among these millions, a tiny handful were struck with a rare and dramatic minting error. This is what collectors call an unintentional masterpiece. Some of these rare error coins feature double dies, off-center strikes, and in the most exceptional case, a full mirror-like proof finish mistakenly struck on a business strike planchet. Essentially, the kind of coin that was never meant to be released to the public, yet somehow escaped the mint and ended up in circulation. Then there's the legendary 2013 P quarter with what experts believe is a transitional planchet error. Imagine this: a coin intended to be a simple circulating quarter is accidentally struck on a leftover blank meant for another denomination or with the wrong metal composition. That's exactly what seems to have happened in this case. One such coin was authenticated by third-party graders and was found to have anomalous weight, strike characteristics, and a finish never before seen on a standard 2013 P quarter. That coin went on to sell in a private auction for a jaw-dropping $1.3 million. Now let's talk condition. Coin collectors are obsessed with condition, and the grading scale goes from poor to mint state 70, with MS-70 being a flawless coin. Most coins in circulation fall well below that, but the $1 million quarter in question was graded MS-68 by PCGS, which is incredibly high for a business strike coin of its era. The surfaces were near perfect, the luster was blinding, and the strike was razor sharp. In short, it was a once-in-a-lifetime find. But the story doesn't end there. What's fascinating is that experts believe there could be more of these error coins still out there, hiding in change jars, coin rolls, or tucked away in forgotten collections. The truth is, many people simply don't know what to look for. So let's break it down. If you come across a 2013 P quarter, flip it over and examine it closely. Look for any signs of doubling in the text or images. Pay attention to the edge. Does it look unusually thick or thin? Does the finish seem unusually shiny or mirrored, almost like a proof coin? If so, you could be holding a rare variety. And if the weight of the coin is slightly off, that's another red flag, or in this case, a green flag for something rare. So what should you do if you think you've found one of these coins? First, don't clean it. That can destroy its value instantly. Handle it by the edges only. Then, get it appraised by a reputable third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. They'll be able to tell you what you have and, if it's truly rare, certify it. Once certified, you can sell it through high-end auctions or private collectors. The sky's the limit for coins like these, especially when there's buzz in the numismatic community. And let's not forget, even if yours isn't one of the $1 million versions, there are still 2013 quarters that can bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars. There are known examples of double dies selling for upwards of $500. A few struck on foreign planchets have reached four-figure sales. The possibilities are real. So what's the moral of the story? Keep looking. Coins like the 2013 P quarter prove that modern change can still hold incredible value. It's not just ancient coins or gold doubloons. Even something minted in the last decade can be a life-changing find. All it takes is knowledge, a sharp eye, and a bit of luck. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most shocking coin stories of the decade, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos just like this. Let us know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin in your change. We'd love to feature your story. And remember, treasure can still be found, one quarter at a time. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.